Hi everyone, welcome to Stamp Club. A Whaley Great Dice and Stamp Set comes to you in this beautiful envelope, and you've got all the dies that will cut all the stamps out, and there's quite a collection in this Stamp Club. I'm going to take everything out of the sleeve so we don't get any glare on the camera, and then we'll have a good look at these stamps today. So we'll try not to get any glare here. As you can see, we have like a mummy, daddy and a baby of the whales. We have all the plant life, we've got birds, we've got the sea lion, and we've got various different plants. We've got a little ship, there's shells, there's starfish, there's little seahorses, and then we've got some sentiments. Get whale soon, sometimes life is overwhelming, have a whaley great day. And now we've got here the dies that will cut out the stamps and all the plant life. And then you have this shoaler fish here, which will look smashing on your card. So a really great Stamp Club this month. Well, they're great every month, but this one is really good. I've had an absolute blast. So I'll put everything to one side and I'll show you some samples that I've made with the sets. Now, I haven't had a lot of time to create these samples. I've just made them today. But as you can see, you've got a beautiful collection of plant life. And we've put 2 whales on this card. And we've put have a Whaley great day. And this card is just an A6 card. So a nice size card to send to somebody. Now the next card's just slightly bigger than a 5x7 card. I think it was 5 by 7¼ or something like that. And we've done an inky sea and an inky sky. And we've cut a circle out and done a sunrise. We've added the birds and the plant life. And then we've got that cheeky whale there with his tail splashing out of the sea. And that was a really fun card to make. And I think with the yellow, it just makes it pop. That was one of my husband's favourites, he told me. And then this card is a 6x6, and we've die cut a circular die cut, and we've cut the bottom and the top off to make it look like a goldfish bowl. I then added an inky blue background for the water, and then I have heat embossed with the clear embossing powder just to get that glazed shiny finish of glass on the bowl. And then we've added all the plant life at the bottom, the little fish, and obviously we have a little shipwreck down there at the bottom. And I just stamped it with a happy birthday sentiment because there weren't any whales on this card. So that's just something fun that you could do. It's something fun that you could do for the children. I'm sure they would have a blast making something like that. So I'd love for you to pop back in just a mo and we'll put a card together. So here we have an inky background. And I've gone ahead and I've done blue, which is the Nouveau Hybrid Polar Ice. I've actually done 2 layers on this card just to build the colour up. And now we're going to add the Nouveau Hybrid Moroccan Teal. And this just adds a little bit of the bluey green colour you'd expect in the ocean. So we're going to go ahead and use an inky brush. These are like the little makeup brushes that everybody seems to be using these days. It does make life easier. They're really absorbent of the ink and they blend beautifully. Now I would normally use a glass mat because the ink glides better from the edge working your way in. But I never like to use a glass mat when I'm demonstrating for you because you do get a glare. So today we're just using a piece of card underneath. But we're just going to work our way around. And I'm going to make sure that there's a slightly lighter shade in the centre, because I just like that look. But you'll have to excuse me, I've got green fingers. I've been playing with a green Aquaflow pen, and clumsy me had put it here, there and everywhere, and then I got it all over myself. So I look a bit green today. So we're just going to go around in circular motions, working the colour into the card until you've gone round all 4 sides. And we're nearly there now. There we go. Now I like that look in the middle with it being slightly paler. So I'm going to put that to one side. And then we're going to get a piece of watercolour card, and it's just an A4 sheet. And we're just going to use this for stamping and colouring all the pond life, the sea life, I should say. And we're going to use the Nuvo Hybrid Black Shadow ink pad and the Nuvo acrylic block. Now the stamps are of a good size, but they're manageable on an acrylic block. But if you prefer to use a stamping platform, then that's perfectly fine. Just for me, an acrylic block was easy, and I could get on with the job quite quickly. So here I'm just going to stamp various different things from the stamp set onto the A4 piece, and then we'll do some colouring in. Now today I'm using Aquaflows, and I'm using a variety of different greens, yellow, I think I've used a bit of brown, and at the end we're going to use a bit of the Midas Touch as well. I do love the Aquaflow pens, and for this stamp club, with it being sea life, it was just an absolute dream to use the Aquaflows for this stamp club. So here you can see I'm stamping all different sorts of plant life, and then we'll be stamping some of the whales, and I think we'll have a daddy and a mummy here, or a baby and a daddy are we going to go for. And we're completely going under the sea with this one. We're not putting a skyline in or a waterline in, we're going for it. We're going under the sea. So here I'm just deciding which stamps I'd like to use. And you know, this is the fun bit. This is you stamping a bit of everything and colouring a bit of everything, and then you've got the dies to cut everything out, so you've got no fussy cutting whatsoever, and then you can build your scene and you can pick what you want. So I've sped things up here in the video, because obviously I don't want to bore you to tears with watching me colour every single thing. But here we're adding a pale green Aquaflow, and then we're going in with a darker shade in the centre and underneath the leaf, and then we will clean the brush and we will go back in with that lighter green again, and we will clean the brush and we will go in with the yellow, and the yellow just adds that lovely highlight, because let's face it, a leaf is not just a solid green. You know, there's all different colours there in your leaf. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this leaf off. I try to make sure that the brush isn't too wet, and that's why I use the tissue, just to take the excess off, because you don't want to flood the card, because you'll go out of your lines and then it won't look as neat. So just a little bit of water and then take the excess off. So here we're going to colour in the other greenery, and I tended just to use 2 shades of green here, and the underlayer I kind of went darker, as you'd expect a leaf underneath to be darker. And I always kind of go in with a darker green a little bit, then take the excess off the brush and then try and blend it out. I'm going to put that to one side, and then I'm going to show you this is how well the dies line up with the stamps. Absolutely perfect. I'm going to run those through the die cutting machine, and then we're just going to colour a couple of these whales in, ready to be die cut. And again, you'll see I go in with a lighter grey, and then I'll add a little bit of shadow, adding a darker grey. And if you're not happy, just go in with a little bit of water, blend it out, let the card dry, make sure it's not saturated, and then you can change the colour up again. So I'm just adding a little bit of shadow to him here, and then blending the colour out a little bit. In one of the cards that I did actually add a little bit of dark blue with the grey and blended that out. So now we've got all of our pieces that we're going to need for the card. Now we might have too many pieces, but I'd rather have too many pieces than not enough. So I think it's a good idea that you do stamp quite a few bits on a piece of card and colour in. The card is 5x7 and it's a white card blank. And then we go down in 1/4 of an inch increments with your matte and layers, and we have a yellow and a teal colour here. We're going to glue these with the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive, and to me it's the best glue in the world. And you know, you'll think that I'm biased, but honest to God, it really is my preferred glue. It's a wonderful glue. When I order it by the truckful because I never want to be without it. So we're going to glue those layers flat together, and then these are going to glue flat to the card. We will be adding some dimension with the other layers. So we'll place this on the card now, make sure we've got an even border all the way around the edge. And then we're going to add a white matte layer, and then the inky background that we did earlier. And the white behind it just makes it pop off the teal and it breaks the colour up. So again, we're adding the Deluxe Adhesive to the back of it. We're going to place this onto the white layer. And then we're going to place 2mm foam pads to the back of this layer. This is where we're going to start adding a little bit of depth and dimension to the card. So we're going to add this now to the card, making sure you've got an even border all the way around the edge. And then without putting any adhesive on any of the stamped images that you've done, I tend to place them on the card and create the story that I want to tell. And I think it is all about telling a story and making a beautiful scene. So I'll play around with where I want, you know, a certain plant or the whale or a little fish. And I'll play around with it, and then once I've decided where I want everything to go, then I'll start to stick things down. Some things will be stuck down with wet adhesive, and some things will be stuck down with foam pads. And never ever be frightened of cutting down, like here, one of the plant lives so that it's a bit shorter. And you're going to add 2 little seahorses here, because obviously You always see them together in twos. And then we're going to add some of this plant life now to the bottom. I mean, there's little shells, there's little starfish, everything you'd expect to see at the bottom of the ocean. So I'll just add these little pieces now, and I'll probably put foam pads on the back of this sentiment, and with the black it just makes it pop so that it's easy to see on the card, especially if it was to be sat on a mantelpiece. So there you've got your little rainbow fish. I think he's going for a little dive to the bottom of the ocean. We'll add another one there, and then we think we've got a little shell to add. And once I'm happy with where everything is, I'll then start to glue it in place, because I can never make my mind up where I want something. So we're going to cut some 2mm foam pads down to the size and place these onto the back of the sentiment. And then we'll place these onto the black layer. Just allowing a fine border all the way around the edge of the sentiment. And I'm not going to glue that down until I've decided where everything is going to go, because we can always move the sentiment to one side or the other, or higher or lower, depending on your scene, but we'll make the scene up. So as you can see here, I'm placing foam pads to the reverse of one of the whales. And this is where you're going to start to add depth and dimension to your card, because some things will be on a foam pad and some will be glued flat. So I tend to just buy large foam pads and cut them down to size. I think you're all going to have so much fun with this stamp club. I had so many ideas, and I've still got so many ideas, but I have got a lot of work on my desk at the moment to get through. So I'm hoping I get time to revisit this and come back with a couple more samples to share with you. It was great fun, really great fun. I think these kind of cards appeal to young, old, male, female. You know, you could send this card to anybody. And in fact, this card is actually going to my stepfather, as it's his 65th birthday. And he's retired. He's just retired. And I thought this would be a fun card for him to receive. So I hope he likes it. So as you can see, we're placing these down just with wet adhesive. And then we'll probably add the next layer on top with foam pads. And you're just telling a story. Yeah, it's just lovely to build a card up like this. So I'd highly recommend one afternoon, or whenever you like to craft, whether it's in the evening or the morning, sit and make a few inky backgrounds, a few with sky, a few with water and sky, or just under the sea. And then I would spend some more time just stamping all the different plant life and the whales and all the little elements, and then sit and have an afternoon colouring in. And then you've got all the dies to do the hard work for you, to cut everything out. And then you can sit and you can just make them up and make your story. So we're just going to add this die down now with wet adhesive. And then place this next one down. You could do oh, a fish tank. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? All we need now is a deep sea diver and a treasure chest at the bottom. We'll have to hope that Tonic do a follow-up set. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? If we could have a deep sea diver, a treasure chest, maybe even a dolphin or a mermaid, and some more plants. I'll have to have a little chat with Maria and ask nicely. We'll say pretty please with a cherry on top. We're just going to add the sentiment there to the top once everything's stuck down there. Again, wet adhesive, your best friend. Oops, butterfingers. And then we're going to place that down. And that sentiment really pops then on the black card. So I'm going to add some Midas Touch, I think, to the plant life and the fish. It just adds a little bit of a shimmer, a little bit of a sparkle, but not too much. Missed one. Oh, we can't have that, can we? Let's glue him down. And then add some of the sparkle to the plant life at the bottom. And to finish then, we're going to use a white gel pen. And we're just going to add some little bubbles in the water. And if you haven't got a white gel pen, try the jewel drops, like the clear. They work a treat. And I use those on the goldfish bowl, so I know they will work really well. So here we have the white gel pen, and we're just going to do little bubbles in the water. Just adds another little bit of interest. There we go. And there we have our card. Absolutely love this stamp club. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Got a bit of depth there, but not too much. Easily post in an envelope. It doesn't need to go in a box. And now we'll bring in the other cards that I showed you earlier, so that you can see them all together. So you've got two quite similar, but with different matten layers, so you can see how different that looks by just using different layers. And then we've got the ship there in the sunset and the goldfish bowl. I'm really, really loving this stamp club. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with. And I just want to say thank you to you all for joining me today. And if you can, please subscribe and hit the subscribe below. And my affiliate links will be found in the description. Take care, everyone, and bye for now.